You know, it's hard for me to believe my own strength in actively uploading for the past 2 or 3 months, especially with Indiehemius, which was originally a plan to keep my channel active and fit in enough hours in the week while in my current semester. But looking back on this journey, I learned that there was more to indie animation than just being a simple new genre on YouTube. It wasn't just about innovating the industry by trying something new and unique that no big studio has ever done before with total freedom. That reason alone is just selfish. But it's about the power of creativity and passion that drives these projects to live continually, and the support of family and friends that make it possible. To some, it's what makes you keep living. Just like my purpose, for example, YouTube is part of the reason why I continue to live. And it's been quite a journey here and there since the last 8 episodes. No matter how simple the animation gets, how strong the aesthetic is, how well the story builds, how good are the characters, or even how dumb of a gimmick it's supposed to be, I think I should commemorate this special 9th episode by reviewing an indie animation staple.
He's gonna say it.
An early example of indie animation that truly exceeds my personal standards.
Is that what I think it is?
Something that was based off a wonderful universe that's been around for many years.
I think I know what he's gonna say.
An indie animation that's one of the best prime examples of indie animation of all time.
It's gonna be it.
The name you all know. It has the letter L in it.
He's definitely gonna say it.
The indie animation I'll be reviewing today is Lackadaisy!
And
What?
Huh?
That's not what I said! I could have sworn I said Lackadaisy.
Damn it! I thought he was gonna review an object show this time.
That was weird. Anyways, Lackadaisy! Now this project has been out for quite a while now. Actually, who am I kidding? Lackadaisy in general has been out for almost 2 decades. Starting out as a webcomic in 2006, Tracy Butler wanted to reenact the magic of the Roaring 20s, but in a unique and interesting way, with cats, since the parties in that time were as wild as felines. With a lore centered around the culture of bootlegging and life by the Mississippi River, these cats stop at nothing from trying to revive the old speakeasy again for a widow, even if at all means trying to man up against the feds and other rivalries. It's quite a deep rabbit hole to jump into with the webcomics, with all these other characters that don't make an appearance and suspicious hints that tease the bigger picture beyond the pilot itself. And it does define the story a bit. But since this is Indiehemius, we'll be solely looking at the pilot alone that came out a year prior to see how well does it still hold up after over a year. Could there still be anything to learn from it? Is it still mesmerizing? Well, I think it's time we revisit this icon and travel back to the 1920s to see what makes it still fascinating to this day. The story is pretty self-explanatory. You have cats working in organized crime to deliver some of the finest booze on the market, but what makes the story special is the unique lore building around the plot. From a first glance, we could see that these 3 cats are robbing a grave after they suspect it's loaded with Canadian whiskey, only to get caught in the hairs of the crossfire of a rival gang, that is. But what strengthens the lore more is at the end, which provides a lot of hints that the speakeasy was supposed to be what it isn't anymore, especially how well they execute that narrative too, with slight details that give us a clue about the character's past with Mordecai and how the animation and effects can illuminate these clues, such as Atlas May's ghost resting his hands on Mitzi's shoulders. You could tell that there is something bigger to the whole show that hasn't been revealed to us yet. But we can make a hefty prediction that it could definitely succeed in the following events that come after or before it. It fits well with the setting too, since a lot of the 1920s elements are heavily reflected upon the pilot too, giving an ideal point of view of what would happen if the world were just cat people only, while also being somewhat historically accurate too. The nature of the past builds the lore, the foundation it needs, because it can accurately represent the past as it was in the 20th century, which is super helpful to the lore that wants to stay strictly within the time period it takes place in, so it doesn't doze off anywhere with confusing time skips that might lose focus on the main story. Since it's the 20s, Prohibition is the main topic, as it was a huge event that would define the decade for life. It's classy, it's world building, and it casts the remembrance of the Roaring Twenties superbly. Something dark and gritty lies behind these starry night sky eyes.
Oh my god! I was in a romantic relationship with someone I met on Fortnite, and they just lost me!
The animation of it all is what brings out the charm of Lackadaisy. Since the animation is likely inspired by Don Bluth and Walt Disney, you'll definitely get a feeling of both. The animation is smooth and alluring. Of course, they do show sketch lines here and there sometimes, which is partially visible on the characters and makes the animation look a bit unfinished. But who could blame them, since this was a pilot? The facial animations also capture the magic of Lackadaisy with subtle and crazy forms. I'd like to mention the lighting effect, which encapsulates the vibes of the Roaring Twenties in this 27-minute indie cartoon, along with some other cinematic elements too. The beams the lighting emits on the characters and props do it just right. But what's more impressive is the integration of 3D animation in Lackadaisy, mostly for the vehicles. 3D animation is filtered professionally to be more suitable in the pilot, giving it a comic book style of texturing that tricks you into believing the cars were also animated in 2D as well, even though they aren't. And the rough animation blends seamlessly with the 3D animation too, so that just adds more to the cake. In fact, the credit sequence is also glorious in its own pride, because not only does it house some of the aesthetics of the wild 20s such as paper, gambling, and the speakeasy stage, but also the amazing visual effects that bring these aesthetics to life, which fits in more within the Lackadaisy universe. So I believe that the animation is a wonderful beginning to something spectacular waiting to happen later on when Season 1 drops. It's gonna be exciting for what the animation has to offer. Lastly, the characters are what make Lackadaisy the perfect pilot to sit on your butt and watch. The characteristics of them all define the true gritty culture of the Roaring Twenties, both personally and ethnically, like the dead-on serious hitman Mordecai, who has a troubled past and can activate bullet time like he's in Max Payne or Fear, or Ivy Pepper, who'd later dress up as the ordinary flapper at the end of the pilot. Or in regional cases, we have the crazy Seraphine and Nico, who are siblings of Cajun descent and are therefore fluent in French. Whoever they are, they possess the spirit of the 1920s very well, no matter how diverse they can be. But hold on a second. If they're supposed to represent the influences of the 1920s, aren't they still cats? You're not wrong, because the characters have a fair balance between their formal personalities of the 20s and the attributes of felines. Because no matter how humanistic they ought to feel, they're still cats. And that can be said for people like Rocky and Freckle, who have a more feral side to them, unleashing their beastly rage or kitty insanity when they're handed a gun or are standing around heavy machinery, which is unnatural for someone to act like that in the 1920s. But they are still cats after all, so it works fine. I mean, they also have immense reactions to, like, their fur strands spiking up or doing doing the best they can to avoid water. So that's a nice detail added to the characters.
We can call it Suncock.
Suncock, that sounds great.
One more thing I could add is that the voice acting is astounding. This is probably one of the best voice acting performances I've seen in an indie animation yet that caps the style and personality of the characters more, like the iconic Michael Kovac, who brings out this kooky, crazy thrill of emotion for Rocky. It's probably one of his roles I believed he had fun voicing, and it's definitely clear these voice actors in general enjoyed voicing their characters as much as him, which is why the voice acting is so golden, along with Lisa Raymold, Sungwon Cho, Jason Monoka, and especially Malcolm Ray, who ironically plays my favorite character in the plot, Nico. Malcolm Ray is quite special to me out of all the cast because he's a genuine pro at not only voice acting, but acting in general. Because to me and other people, he's more notably known as the black guy from the Nostalgia Critic videos, always getting dragged into wacky misadventures while Doug Walker reviews a dumb cash grab or a box office bomb. Whether he's Satan, a black guy, a businessman, a black guy, a housefly, a black guy, or just himself. He's my second favorite in the Nostalgia Critic videos, which is also ironic seeing him play my favorite character in Lackadaisy, and I heavily respect him for his performance, along with all the others.
Hey, Lackadaisy wanted me for a reason?
I think I swallowed a bug.
You got a big fat bad for dinner? Who's fair?
Nah.
A bat credit card? They gave him a bat credit card?
Does not compute!
It's quite satisfying to see that Lackadaisy is still going fresh. The animation is way ahead of its time despite being out for over a year, and the story is fueled on some incredible lore building which makes us see the illusion that there is definitely more than meets the eye. And we can't forget about the flourishing mix of the characters, with Gangsta and Cat Jeans coursing through their veins. And I will never forget the profound voice acting, which gave the right characters, the right cast to have fun with. With all that being said, I'd consider this to be the best indie animation I've ever reviewed on Indiehemius so far, because the supposed rest of the lore is threaded deep within the webcomics that have been going on for 18 years. I'm really excited to see what the entirety of Season 1 has to bring to the table, because if they can adapt one of the stories to the pilot well, then I'm most likely sure they will do their best in adapting the rest of the webcomics for Season 1 too. Let it serve as a prime example of indie animation for aspiring animators and critics who want to give this masterpiece a shot. Wrapping things up, this has been another episode of Indiehemius. I've been Bohemius, and remember to get your cat spayed and neutered. See ya!
Look, Mom. Look, it's your Fortnite skin. Look, Mom, it's your Fortnite skin. Come on, it's your Fortnite skin. It's your Fortnite skin. It's your Fortnite skin, come on. Come on, look, it's your Fortnite skin. Yay! Oh, you're so adorable.